In the previous video, you have actually created your first Laravel application by installing the Laravel Breeze and other components. This time, I created a boilerplate for you to use. This comes with the initial database and some controllers and models to play around. So let's go ahead and clone this Git repo of mine. So first, you need to check whether you have Git installed by typing git minus minus version. So mine is 2.28.0, and if you do not have that one, you have to install that. You go to Git and download the 64 or 32-bit version, whichever is appropriate to your system. So when done, you go to GitHub and browse my repository. The site is github.com/alanlau/softeng. So here you could see several files. We're going to clone them. So click on the code, copy the URL, and then head back to your terminal. So I wanted to clone this inside the same folder that I'm using. It's in CD Web Apps. Yeah, it is where all my applications are stored. So I would say git clone and then paste the URL, press enter. Right, so we're done, as simple as that. Now we go ahead and open the VS Code. All right, so for me, it automatically opened that file. But if it's not, you have to go here, File, Open Folder, and navigate to that folder where you have cloned that softeng repository. So it should be this one, softeng. Okay? So here I have the files. The next thing to do is to install the Composer components and as well as your JavaScript components. So let's open the terminal. And I would type Composer install. So that will actually install all the Composer components here. These are PHP packages. After that, we are going to install the packages under the JSON, which are basically JavaScript components. Next is npm install. This may take a while. Alright, so we are done with the installation. Actually, it created two folders, the node modules and your vendor file folder. Okay, now we are done, and the next step is to prepare the database. Right now you have here env.example. This is the file that comes as an example, of course. So what we are going to do is to copy this, Control C and Control V, and then rename that as .env. So erase the other files and .env. Make sure you get it right. Okay, and check on the database connection. It's MySQL. The database name is softeng. The password is root. Username is root, and the password is empty. For me, I don't have a password in my development server, so I don't have to put one. If that's okay now, you save. And then let's head on to our SQL client. So here is the SQL client. I'm going to create a database, create new database, and the database name is softeng. Right. So now it's still empty. Let me close that one for now. Okay, so let's check this boilerplate that I have provided. So when we check on the database, we have some migrations created already. We have tables. In addition to that, you have the unit of measurement, stock category, and stock table. It comes along with some models. You have stocks, stock category, unit of measurement, and we also have one controller, which is your stock category controller that comes with um, simple code for your index and your create. It also comes with factories. The stock category factory will create a fake value for the stock category. The stock factory as well will create fake values, and your user factory will create my name, and the password is password. All right. So the next step is to migrate. So PHP artisan migrate. Again, use migrate if the database is empty. So we're done. And let's just check. So my database right now, when I refresh, I get the tables that I need, but the stocks and other the stocks here are still empty. Let's go ahead and populate the database by executing php artisan db seed. Okay, so the db seed executed the seeder, which you have here. So it will create one user, 20 stock category, and 100 stocks. So let's check if we have those. Refresh. Yeah, so I have here 100 rows of stock category and 20 rows of stock category. The other one is stocks. And my user, it's my name, and the password is password. Right, so we're good to go. Let's run the application by typing php artisan serve. Double click to open. So if you get this error, no application encryption key has been specified, that means in our env, you don't have a value for your application key. So this should be generated. What we are going to do is to just click the generate application key. Okay, and checking back the code, now we have an application key generated by Laravel. So it should work now. Laravel, login. That's the username and password. Login. So I get my application. All right. The next thing we are going to do is change the layout. I wanted to have a sidebar here and a header here because the application that we are going to make requires a lot of links. So it's better to make use of a sidebar. So let's do it. Okay. So let's examine now our code. Let's check on the route. So we have here, if the route is slash, it renders the welcome together with the login and the register. If it's slash dashboard, it actually goes directly to render the dashboard view, which can be found in your resources JS pages, and then here is the dashboard. Okay, so this is what we are going to modify at this point, the dashboard. So double click on that. Okay, and then we get your dashboard here. So what we are going to do is to change the layout that is being used by this. Right now it is using the authenticated layout coming from here, the authenticated view. Okay, so we are going to create our own under the layouts. So let's do one, create a new file, and then let me call that as layout.view. Okay, First, we need to create the view skeleton. So let's type in view. So you get here a template and the script. Inside the template, we're going to put here the HTML files. And in the script, that's where our view JavaScript will be coded. First, we're going to create some kind of a skeleton to organize the sidebar, the header, and the main content. So let's create a div that represents the root. This is the main container. And let's make that a flexible container. Inside it, let's create the sidebar. So this is for the sidebar. Okay. And then let's make the class. The width is about 64. And let's put a background so that we could see. Let's make that as blue. And then another one is for the main. This is for the main. And then class. This is also a flex container. And now let's just make a color for the meantime. And let's see. So this is a full width. And then let's make the color background is equals to green. Yeah. Okay. So let's check that out. So I'm gonna use this layout in our dashboard, right? So here we're going to remove this breeze authentication, but instead we're going to use a layout. And that should be layout.view. Layout.view. Okay. And then we're going to set the layout. The layout as the capital layout. Right? So no more for these components this time. So the layout of this page will be using the capital layout, which is this, which is basically the layout that we are creating, the layout.view. Okay. So because we have made changes, we need to run the npm again. Npm run. I'll do it watch this time so that it will be running behind the scenes. Okay. And if your artisan server is not working, you'd say artisan serve. So I have two terminals running. So I'll open this. And the dashboard looks like this. Okay, so nothing fancy. So what we're going to do is to increase the size of the sidebar so that it will occupy the entire horizontal screen. And this one, we have to divide this into two. One for the header and one for a bigger content. Okay. So let's go back to the layout. So let me just say this should be H screen. And the main, I'll divide that into two. So inside the main, I will have two. So under the main, I will have two. One for the header. This is the header. And the other one is the content itself. So the header, this container will be a flex column so that the two containers will be stuck together, stuck on top of each other. Okay, so let's put some it should occupy also as a full. The width is full. And let's put some background color, maybe yellow, just to show the header. And the content will also be occupying the entire available space for the width. And for the meantime, let's put a background gray is equals to 100. Okay, so let's check. Let me format the document. So we have the sidebar, and then we have beside it is another container that contains the header and the content. So saving that and moving to my browser, now you get it, right? So the content is a little bit small. Um, hmm, let's do that as h full. Oops. Okay, so it looks good now. So what we are going to do next is to change the sidebar into an actual navigation sidebar and the header as a beautiful header coming from resources available for our Tailwind. So I have chosen one, the Meraki UI. This is really a cool site giving us beautiful components. So what I need right now is I'm gonna head on to the sidebars. Yeah. So sidebars you have here. You have a brand and a your avatar down below or that one. So I will choose this. I'll have to look at the code. The code is right here. I'll just have to copy that one. Copy. Okay. Or in fact, you can copy also this one. So I copied the entire code here. This is just plain HTML, and I'm going to paste that to the sidebar in my layout. So this is the sidebar. Okay, I'm going to erase that and put it here. Okay, and then save. And then let's take a look at the output. What's the other one? Yeah, this one. Let me close that. So this, right. So we have a good looking sidebar. Thank you to this site, Meraki UI. Okay, so what's next? So let's go ahead and choose a better header for this coming from the same site. So headers, here it's actually navigation bars. It's actually horizontal. Yeah, the second one looks good, so I'm gonna copy this. You might as well check the code. So again, this is just a plain HTML starting with nav and ends with the navigation, closing navigation. So let's copy that one. Okay, and head back to our code, and let's look for that tag where we had the header. So this is the one. I'm going to delete that. Okay, and then paste the code right here. Okay, and then save. Okay, and then checking back. Voila, diba? It's magic. So you now have a very good looking um, layout, sidebar layout. So your next activity, we just have to change these things. Okay, but we're not yet done. We still have to modify the content here. Okay, so next, let's go back to Meraki UI and get some forms which we could use to check the content. Right, this one looks good for now. I'm going to copy this again. Curiously, this is just a section. Then I'm going to copy this and put that in my code to where the content is located. So it's right here. V. And then save. Okay. That's good, but not really good. So we are seeing the form um, without space between the header and the form. So that's not really good. So what we would like to do is everything that should be added in the content will have a nice space surrounding it. So we are going to create another box here with the good spacing from top to bottom, top, left, right, and bottom. Okay. I have to remove the last code that I have pasted. You just press Control Z. But if you have done a lot of things, you go here and then fold that code so that we know that that is the section, and I could erase it. This is from, you see, it's 131 to line 161. That's about 30 lines of codes. All of them will be deleted. Okay. So here is the content. Now I'm going to put this content inside another div. Okay, so what we are going to do is to surround the content with a margin. Um, Margin, and then let's see what do we have. 10, maybe 20 to 20, and then let's check this out. Okay, and then refresh. So your content is now margined properly. So if you're going to inspect this, you could see there's enough margin surrounding it already. The next thing to do now is to remove this content here and replace that with slash slot slash a closing slot. Okay. So that means all the pages that you will be creating will be inserted in this specific spot here on line number 131 and closed by the div. No? So if you are going to use this layout in all your other pages, it is in this place where that page will be loaded. Alright, now that we load it, the dashboard page is loaded inside your layout, but it looks like we have um, big space surrounding it. Maybe let me just change that to 10. Save, and then, right. I think that's better. Okay, so that's it. And enjoy coding.